We live in a world obsessed with physical health. Gyms are packed, diets are debated, diseases are diagnosed and treated. Yet we often neglect the health of our minds. Mental health, particularly depression, remains a silent epidemic, shrouded in stigma and misunderstanding. Depression doesn't discriminate. It affects people of all ages, backgrounds, and walks of life. It's a global crisis, touching the lives of millions, often in silence and shame. Despite its prevalence, depression remains largely misunderstood. It's often misconstrued as mere sadness or weakness, leading to judgment and inadequate support for those who suffer. We must break this cycle. It's time to shed light on this often misunderstood condition. By fostering empathy and compassion, we can create a more supportive environment for those battling depression. Imagine a weight on your chest, a heaviness that never seems to lift. Imagine colors fading, joy dimming, and motivation dwindling. This is the reality for millions living with depression. It's not just sadness, it's a profound sense of emptiness, hopelessness, and despair that permeates every aspect of life. This darkness manifests differently in each individual. Some experience persistent sadness, while others feel numb and detached. Energy levels plummet, sleep patterns are disrupted, and even simple tasks feel insurmountable. The world outside may continue to move, but for someone with depression, time seems to stand still. Understanding the nature of depression is crucial to providing support and breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health. Depression is not a one-size-fits-all experience. It can manifest in countless ways, making it even more challenging to recognize and understand. For some, depression feels like a constant weight, a heavy cloak draped over their shoulders. Others might experience periods of intense sadness interspersed with moments of normalcy. They may struggle to concentrate, make decisions, or even hold on to a coherent train of thought. Insomnia or excessive sleeping, changes in appetite, digestive problems, and chronic fatigue are common complaints. Recognizing the diverse ways depression presents itself is crucial for early intervention and support. Understanding the varied faces of depression allows us to approach this complex condition with greater empathy and compassion. Imagine being trapped in a cage, not of metal bars, but of your own thoughts. This is the reality for many living with depression. Negative thoughts swirl endlessly, distorting perceptions, amplifying anxieties, and fueling a sense of hopelessness. Self-criticism becomes relentless, with every perceived flaw magnified under a harsh inner spotlight. The past is replayed with regret, while the future is painted in shades of despair. Breaking free from this cage of thoughts is a central part of healing from depression. With the right support, the cage can be unlocked and hope can begin to blossom again. For some, depression isn't a single episode but a recurring companion, casting a long shadow over their lives. These individuals might experience periods of relative stability, punctuated by episodes of deep despair. Living with recurrent depression requires immense resilience and a proactive approach to managing mental health. It often involves developing coping mechanisms, building strong support systems, and engaging in ongoing therapy or medication management. Learning to recognize the early warning signs of an impending episode can empower individuals to seek help sooner. With perseverance and the right support, it's possible to find moments of light and joy even amidst the shadows. What causes depression? It's a question that has perplexed scientists and sufferers alike for generations. Unlike a physical wound, the roots of depression are often hidden, a complex interplay of genetic predisposition, brain chemistry, and life experiences. Genetics play a role. Research suggests that depression can run in families. Brain chemistry is another piece of the puzzle. Neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers in our brains, play a crucial role in regulating mood, sleep, and motivation. In individuals with depression, these neurotransmitters, such as serotonin and dopamine, can become imbalanced. However, reducing depression solely to brain chemistry is an oversimplification. Life experiences, both positive and negative, shape our brains and influence our mental well-being. Trauma, abuse, grief, chronic stress, and difficult life transitions can all leave their mark, increasing the risk of developing depression. The notion of a chemical imbalance in the brain has become a popular, albeit simplified, explanation for depression. While neurotransmitter imbalances undoubtedly play a role, this concept should not be taken literally. The brain is a dynamic, constantly adapting system, influenced by our experiences, thoughts, and behaviors. Neurotransmitters act as the sunlight and water, essential for growth. However, just as a garden requires more than just sunlight and water to thrive, so too does our mental health depend on a complex interplay of factors. Addressing the underlying causes of depression requires a holistic approach that considers both biological and environmental factors. While individual experiences of depression are unique, it's crucial to recognize the role of societal factors in shaping mental health. We live in a world that often prioritizes achievement, productivity, and constant connectivity, leading to increased stress, social isolation, and a disconnect from our basic needs. The pressure to conform to unrealistic beauty standards, the relentless pursuit of material possessions, and the constant barrage of negative news can all take a toll on our mental well-being. Social media, while offering a platform for connection, can also fuel feelings of inadequacy, comparison, and loneliness. Systemic issues such as poverty, discrimination, and lack of access to healthcare disproportionately impact marginalized communities. Understanding the interplay between individual experiences and societal influences is crucial for developing effective prevention strategies and fostering a more compassionate and supportive world. Sharing one's experience with depression takes immense courage. It requires vulnerability, a willingness to expose the raw, often messy reality of mental illness. In these acts of courage, we find healing, connection, and the power to break down the stigma that keeps so many suffering in silence. In this section, we'll hear from individuals who have bravely chosen to share their stories. Their voices, diverse and powerful, offer a glimpse into the lived experience of depression, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggles. These individuals, in sharing their truths, become beacons of light, illuminating the path toward healing for themselves and others. Growing up, I knew my father battled something unseen. He wasn't physically ill, but a shadow seemed to follow him, stealing his joy, his energy, sometimes even his words. Anya's father, a successful businessman, struggled with undiagnosed depression for years. He was always there, physically present but emotionally distant. Anya's experience is not uncommon. Children of parents with depression often carry the weight of their parents' struggles. It wasn't until I was older, facing my own struggles with anxiety, that my mother finally told me about my father's depression. Understanding her father's depression didn't erase the pain of the past, but it offered Anya a new perspective. I learned that mental illness is not a weakness, but an illness like any other. It doesn't define who you are, but it shapes your journey. For Marcus, a college student living with social anxiety and depression, finding online communities dedicated to mental health was a lifeline.
I felt so alone in my struggles, like I was the only one who couldn't just snap out of it or think positive.
Discovering online forums and support groups where individuals openly shared their experiences with depression and anxiety was a turning point for Marcus.
Reading their stories, hearing people articulate the same thoughts and fears that haunted me, made me realize I wasn't alone.
The anonymity of the online space allowed Marcus to shed the shame and fear that often prevented him from seeking help in person.
It was easier to be vulnerable behind a screen, to share my darkest thoughts without the fear of judgment.
Sarah, a successful artist, now uses her platform to advocate for mental health awareness. Her journey began in the depths of postpartum depression, a period she describes as the darkest chapter of my life.
The joy of motherhood, a joy I had always longed for, was overshadowed by a crippling sense of inadequacy, anxiety, and despair.
It took all her strength to reach out for help, to admit that she wasn't okay.
It was the hardest yet bravest thing I've ever done.
With the support of her family, therapy, and medication, Sarah slowly began to emerge from the darkness.
If my story, my vulnerability, can help even one person feel less alone, less ashamed, then it's worth sharing.
Through her art, her writing, and her advocacy work, Sarah transforms her pain into purpose, becoming a beacon of hope for others navigating the often isolating world of mental illness. Navigating the depths of depression can feel like being lost at sea, tossed about by waves of despair, unsure of which way to turn. But even in the midst of this storm, there are lifelines, strategies for staying afloat, for finding your footing on solid ground again. The first, and perhaps most crucial step, is acknowledging the need for help. It's a simple statement, yet for many battling depression, it can be the most difficult hurdle to overcome. The stigma surrounding mental illness often prevents individuals from seeking the support they need. They may fear judgment, feel ashamed of their struggles, or worry about burdening others. But recognizing that depression is an illness, not a weakness, is crucial for breaking free from this cycle of silence. Just as you wouldn't hesitate to seek medical attention for a physical ailment, seeking help for mental health concerns is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about prioritizing your well-being, recognizing that you deserve support, and taking proactive steps towards healing. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Reaching out to a trusted friend, family member, therapist, or doctor is often the first step towards finding your footing and navigating your way back to calmer waters. In the depths of depression, isolation can feel like an inescapable prison. Reaching out to others can be a powerful antidote to isolation. Human connection is a fundamental need, essential to our well-being. It provides a sense of belonging and validation. Sharing our experiences can lighten the burden of depression. Start small, confiding in someone you trust. Even short interactions can help break down the walls of isolation. The healing power of human connection can be a lifeline. Section 3. Building a toolkit for resilience. Managing depression is rarely a linear journey. It's often a process of trial and error, of finding what works best for you and adapting as needed. Think of it as building a toolkit for resilience, a collection of strategies and practices that can help you navigate the challenges of depression and build a more fulfilling life. This toolkit might include lifestyle changes such as regular exercise, a balanced diet, and prioritizing sleep. Physical activity, even in small doses, has been shown to have a positive impact on mood, reducing stress and releasing endorphins, the body's natural mood boosters. Engaging in activities that bring you joy, even if it's just for a few minutes each day, can also be incredibly therapeutic. Whether it's reading, listening to music, spending time in nature, or pursuing a creative hobby, these activities can serve as anchors, reminding you of the things that make life worth living, even when depression tries to convince you otherwise. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation or deep breathing exercises, can also be valuable tools for managing depression. These practices help calm the nervous system, reduce anxiety, and increase awareness of the present moment, allowing you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, creating space for self-compassion and acceptance. Section 4. A journey of small victories. Recovering from depression is not about achieving some grand overnight transformation. It's about celebrating the small victories, acknowledging each step forward, no matter how seemingly insignificant. It's about recognizing your own strength, resilience, and courage throughout the process. One day, getting out of bed and taking a shower might feel like a monumental achievement. Another day, it might be reaching out to a friend, engaging in a hobby you once loved, or simply noticing moments of beauty in the world around you. These small victories, often invisible to the outside world, are testaments to your inner strength, your determination to heal, and your commitment to living a more fulfilling life. Acknowledge them, celebrate them, and let them fuel your journey towards recovery. Remember, there is no right or wrong way to heal. Be patient with yourself, embrace the process, and never underestimate the power of small victories in paving the way for lasting change. The path towards recovery may be challenging, but with each step forward, you are moving closer to the light, to a life filled with hope, meaning, and joy. Section 1. Hope's Eternal Flame. We've journeyed through depression, confronting its darkness, and listening to courageous voices. It's been a journey of understanding and kindling hope. Hope is a resounding truth in the face of despair. Depression is not invincible. Each story of resilience chips away at the darkness. Recovery is a journey of learning and discovering strength. Remember, you are not alone. Millions have walked this path before you. Reach out and let their courage inspire you. There are countless resources providing guidance and hope. The darkness doesn't have to define you. Within you lies an unyielding spirit and potential for joy. Your journey, your triumph. Every individual's journey is unique. Find what works for you, honor your pace, and celebrate every step. Acknowledge your strength and courage. You are not defined by your darkest moments. Sharing your story can be liberating. Embrace challenges, celebrate victories, and believe in your strength.